Master and Habib, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolest to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, none other than Sayyidina wa Nabiyuna Muhammad Mustafa Ahmad Mustafa Sallallahu Ta'ala Alayhi Wa Sallam. Just over 2 years ago, another war started. And these wars have been happening from the beginning of time. And it's something that we define and put under the category of good versus evil. Good versus the bad. Since the time of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu salam's creation, all the way till today, there has been this long battle of good versus evil. Good in the form of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, and evil in the form of shaitan. And this has continued throughout the time, through generations and centuries, millennia. And today we find ourselves that not only one place or one part of the world, but throughout the world, especially in the Islamic world, that there is a constant battle between the Muslims and those that are oppressing the Muslims. What makes it even sad and more worse is the fact that so-called Muslims are the ones who are now oppressing Muslims. Allah Ta'ala in the glorious, the beloved Habib alayhi salatu salam in the glorious ahadith, very, very clearly stated, when they said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not one who oppresses. Allah Ta'ala doesn't like zulm and those who oppress. And sadly today we live in a time where in Syria we find that there is an oppressive regime that is ruling over the Syrian people, and that has been ruling for decades now, that has deprived our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters in that land of basic necessities and needs, of human rights. And now we see that the true colors of this regime have come out, and 2 years have passed, and the media haven't shedded much light on this issue. We find that this issue has come to the forefront of many of our young brothers and sisters in the UK, to great ulama and shuyukh. The one in particular, the Prince of Syria, none other than Sayyidina Sheikh Muhammad al-Yaqubi, Damat Barakatuhu al-Qudsiyya, who has revolted and started a revolutionary movement against this regime. A movement of awareness, not for just for the Syrian, but no doubt the Shaykh will tell us that they have done this to raise awareness about oppression itself. Raise awareness on the matter of zulm being oppressive. And sadly we find that these Muslim brothers and sisters are going through what would be the day of judgment for them. Such testing times where water and food is very difficult to find for them. Basic needs to live. Such difficult times they are facing. And they have gone through that they have seen thousands of their fellow countrymen and women being butchered in front of them. Why? Because one person doesn't want to let go of his chair. Look how much one kursi, one chair, how much it can destroy somebody. I remember it was last year, I think, that a fundraiser was hosted and put together by respected brothers in Oldham. And I came to deliver a talk here at the same time to fundraise for them. And alhamdulillah, in that time till now, a vast amount of money has been raised by fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, and even non-Muslims, to help and support this mission of freeing the Syrians from this oppression. I remember the 3 major fundraisers of the period of a weekend and a Friday, when Sheikh Muhammad Ali Yaqub came to the UK, and they raised over 1.5 million. 1.5 million pounds sterling for this cause. People pledged money, donated gold, silver. People sacrificed things, many things, finances, so that they can support these people. And it's very important that we know that very famous hadith, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala assists that person who assists his fellow brother in need. And these are our brothers and sisters who are in need, who need du'as from us, which Allah Akbar is such a gift that it doesn't cost, it's priceless. It's a gift that Allah has given us. The power of dua is such that when you make dua for your fellow brother or Muslim brother or sister, in their absence, and Allah Almighty commands the angels to say Ameen to that dua.
Subhanallah.
The angels say Ameen to that dua. Imagine the power of that dua that the angels have said Ameen to that. Oh Allah, you accept this. That creation of Allah is saying Ameen to it. That doesn't commit sin. That is that is Ma'soom, the angel. They say Ameen to this dua. This is why we should always make a constant habit of making dua. Firstly for yourself, and your family, and your relatives. Then extending towards the community. And then the larger Muslim community, the global Muslim community around the world. That we make dua for those who are ill, that Allah gives them a fast recovery from the illness. That those who are going through difficulties, Allah removes their difficulties. And those that are being oppressed, Allah Almighty removes this oppression. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said that there are 3 du'as that are not rejected in the court of Allah. The first is that when the parents make dua for the children, when the parents make dua for the children, Allah doesn't reject this dua. The second is that zalim, who is punishing the mazloom, those who are being oppressed, Allah Almighty does not reject the dua of the oppressed. Allah accepts the dua of those who are being oppressed. And the third is that when somebody is traveling, any dua he makes on his travels, Allah Almighty accepts his dua. Bear in mind, the dua is accepted. When it will come to that person, only Allah. Maybe it will come immediately. Maybe Allah knows better and it will come towards another time. And no doubt Allah Almighty knows best in every matter and in every case. Allah Ta'ala knows best. Aziz al-Alim, He's the one who is the most knowledgeable. So we should make dua and assist these people through our du'as. We should raise our hands and say, oh Allah, those Muslim brothers and sisters around the world who are being oppressed, Allah Almighty, give them and grant them your Daimana Madad. Oh Allah, grant them this unseen help that only you can give. Not only we can make du'as for them, we can also assist them through finances. By giving money in that way to those charities that really do it. See, a lot of people, like con artists out there, they use the name of deen, they use the name of needy causes, take the money, but then it doesn't reach them. We need to beware of these things as well. A lot of people are being conned into giving, and then they never see the fruit of that. We should give to those that will do the work. That you see the work happening. And on this mission of freeing Syria, the oppression that the Syrians are facing, we see that, correct me if I'm wrong, and Sarah and the other brothers, how many caravans have gone down to Syria? 20 ambulances have gone from the UK to Syria. Along with that, caravans of 200 trucks have gone as well. I remember one caravan headed by Sheikh Muhammad Yasin, Al-Akhir al-Muhtasham, respected brother, where they went with 200. Remember Ansar went on there, receiving his WhatsApp message, that Imam Sahib, I'm going to make dua, it's a good journey. And other brothers as well, who went on this journey by Turkey, and then I think went to Greece, Italy, and from there it went to the borders of Syria, where they assisted. You see the work is happening. We might not see it. It might not be shown in the news. But we see that the brothers are going there and coming. Whatever is being built here, it's going to be spread there. And there's another caravan that is going on March the 31st. On March the 31st, there's another caravan going from the UK of aid, support, help to Syria, to the borders of Syria. Obviously, getting into Syria will be very difficult, especially with the regime getting stricter and stricter on these issues of the borders and so on and so forth. 2 years have passed, and many people have forgotten about this. We need to constantly remind ourselves about what is happening there. The Muslim brothers and sisters that have been persecuted, oppressed. There are sisters that have been raped. There are mothers that have been killed in front of their children, pregnant mothers. There are men who have been forced into the army, men who are fighting alongside the Free Army of Syria to fight against this regime, sacrificing the children, the mothers, the fathers, sacrificing the houses so that they can be liberated from this oppressive regime that has been ruling over them for decades. And for us, how can we help them? By making dua, financially assisting them, by even going out there and helping them in this cause. And we see that this has all been headed by Sayyidi Sheikh Muhammad al-Yaqubi, who have headed this movement, this revolution to create awareness. You see, we should create awareness by this. That's why you're seeing this week the great awareness week for Syria, where all the brothers and sisters on their Facebook, they display pictures, they banners, whether it's their Twitter, whether it's their Facebook. They have changed this to, what's the slogan on there? A prayer for Syria. Being this week that it's been 2 years, a prayer for Syria. Just to remind people, to create awareness, but don't forget. And like this, not just Syria, even Palestine, even the Muslim brothers and sisters suffering in Africa, whether it be in the subcontinent, all around the world, those who are being oppressed, we need to create awareness for them, so that we know what is happening in the world at this moment in time, and that we can make a change. Do never think that a penny won't make a change. Never think a pound won't make a change. Remember, it's pounds that make thousands of pounds. It's 1 pound, 1 pound, 1 pound that make 100 pounds. And then it's 100 pounds that make 1,000. There's thousands that make tens of thousands. And it's tens of thousands that make hundreds of thousands. And it's those hundreds of thousands that added together that it makes a meal. It's a stone together that is put together that begins to make a pie that later becomes known as a mountain. But it all starts with very small things. So whatever we have, we should give towards these causes, to these matters that are happening in the world, charitable causes. The one who gives in the way of Allah Almighty, that person will never suffer from poverty. In reality, that is the rich man, the one who gives in the way of Allah, whether it's financially, whether it's physically, whether it's emotionally, whether it's just even a simple dua. The Prophet used to say to the Sahaba that free yourself from the fire of Jahannam, even if it's by giving 1 day. Even if it's only 1 day, protect yourself from the fire of Jahannam. Because maybe it's possible that 1 day that you give, that 1 day that you give as sadaqah, as charity, it will come and rescue you from the fire of Jahannam on the day of Qiyamah. So when we give charity, we give it in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His way. But then we give it in the name of other things. So I can give 10 pounds for the sake of Allah, but to assist the people of Syria. So there's 2 things there. You're doing it for the pleasure of Allah, and at the same time it's assisting. Like this, you can give 100 pounds for the sake of Allah, but in the name of your deceased parents. Allah Ta'ala will reward you for giving that. And then your parents will also reap the rewards of that in their grave if they have passed away. So understanding all these things is necessary that we continue to create and make aware to our respected brothers and sisters in this country about what's happening in the world. Our young brothers and sisters are lost in the own little world. They are too worried about Facebook and Twitter, too worried about the movies and the house, that we don't have time to know what's happening around the world. Open your eyes and awaken yourself to the reality of this world at this moment in time. Politically, look at what's happening in the world and see